Okay, now we know that some units of prayer are more than 2. Some units of prayer are 3. Sometimes the Maghrib prayer is 3, the Isha prayer is 4. So what do we do in those situations? Okay, so you do 2 rakat. You are sitting in this position. Okay, you say the first supplication, which is the tashahhud, and then you say Allahu Akbar. Raise your hands to the ears, and you come back to the standing position where your right hand is over the left. In the third unit of prayer, during this position, the only thing to recite is the Surah Fatiha, which is the opening chapter of the Quran. So in the third rakat and the fourth rakat, it's only the Surah Fatiha that one will recite. Okay, so notice the difference between the first rakat, the second rakat, and the third and fourth. In the first rakat, during the standing position, we are reciting the opening supplication, Surah Fatiha, and another chapter. In the second rakat, it's Surah Fatiha and another chapter. And in the third and fourth rakats, it's only Surah Fatiha. Okay? Then the rest is exactly the same. Allahu Akbar. Subhana Rabbil Azim. Subhana Rabbil Azim. Subhana Rabbil Azim. Sami Allahu liman hamida. Rabbana lakal hamd. Hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. Allahu Akbar. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Allahu Akbar. Allahumma kfirni warhamni wajburni warzuqni wahdini wa'afini. Allahu Akbar. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Subhana Rabbil Ala. Allahu Akbar. So if there are 3 rakats, then you stop here. If there are 4 rakats in your prayer, you stand up and you do exactly the same as you did in the third rakat, in the fourth rakat. Okay? Then, as I said, in the final rakat, you are going to recite 3 things during this part of the prayer where you're sitting. It's the tashahhud, the prayer on the Prophet Muhammad and the Prophet Ibrahim, alayhi salam, and the additional supplication, if you know it. And then it's the salam. Okay? So that's the focus on the motions. Okay? I want to just reiterate that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he warned people from rushing the prayer. Okay? And there is this term that's referred to as he warned those people who stole from their prayer. Okay? So what does it mean to steal from your prayer? The meaning of stealing from your prayer is to rush through the movements without gaining the benefit from the reward of being in those movements. So, for example, what I talked about, not sitting properly between the 2 sajdas, between the 2 prostrations. So one needs to come to this position, okay? Then go back. Okay? The back needs to be straight. Okay, this is a common mistake. Okay, the back should not be like this. Okay, the back needs to be all the way down. Okay. Okay. When in the sajda position, again the back should be straight. Okay. So one needs to be very vigilant in making sure that you've allowed enough time, you're not rushing through the different motions of the prayer. Okay? So I think in the interest of time, I'm not going to cover much more in terms of the actual supplications and what we actually say during the prayer. I'd like to leave that for next time. But I will take any questions that people have. Yeah.
So, you mentioned mentioned that, you know, it's different schools of scholars follow a different way. In regards to the feet, so you can't cross the right over the left? Because I've seen before where the foot is just, they're crossed over.
Oh, okay. Let me... So, make sure I understand. Are you referring to this position?
Yes.
Okay, so they are crossed. I mean,
Right, but that one's kind of like to the side a bit. Yeah. The other one, they're more crossed like this.
so like this, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. It is. You want to try and get the toes to be pointing forward. That's what you want to try and do. I mean, it's sometimes difficult for people who are trying to do it for the first time, but try your best, and inshallah it will come with time. Okay. The one thing I did want to say, and I forgot to mention this, is in the sajda, sometimes a common mistake is to go into the sajda and to lift the feet up. Okay, this should also not be done. The feet need to stay on the ground throughout the whole duration of the prayer. It's a common mistake. You see people lifting the feet off the ground when going into the sajda, the prostration. So keep the feet on the ground at all times during the prayer. Okay, sister had a question?
When I've seen people before who pray when they like say Salah, instead of going like that, they go like this. Is that like part of it?
Can you?
Yeah. Yeah, they go like that between.
Oh, they go like this. Assalamu alaikum, and then
Yeah.
like that.
They go
Like a pause.
There's a pause in between. I don't know anything about that. I mean, you got Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. I don't think there's anything I know of where there's a reason to pause in between. But if anybody knows better. Okay. You had two questions.
And when you're praying like Zohar or something, and are you allowed to like recite in your mind, like actually in your mind?
Okay, so the question is, when praying Zohar, is one allowed to recite in the mind? Okay, so the prayers are two types. Okay, the daytime prayers and the night prayers. So the daytime prayers are Zohar and Asr, and the night prayers are Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr. So the recitation in the Zohar and Asr prayers is done silently. Okay, the recitation during the Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr prayers, the night prayers, is done aloud. So when I'm referring to recitation here, I'm referring to the time when one is standing in the standing position, and we're reciting verses of the Quran now. So we're reciting Surah Fatiha, the opening chapter, and then another chapter of the Quran. So during this position, this part of the prayer in Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr should be read aloud. Okay? And in Zohar and Asr, it should be silent. That includes if you're praying alone. Okay? So if you're praying alone, you should at least read to a certain level of loudness that you can hear your own voice. Okay? And that's the same for men and women. Obviously, women should not raise their voice in public, but there should be a softly spoken voice such that you can hear your own voice for Maghrib, Isha, and Fajr. And for Zohar and Asr, it's silent for men and women. Okay, so the sister's asking, she's heard that even though the Zohar and Asr prayer, the recitation of the Quran is read silently, should the mouth still be moving? I don't know the answer to that question. Do you know, Brother Sagir?